Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be doing the Carlton vs Hawthorn game review, in which probably couldn't have gone much better for me given the circumstances of it all, and it looked relatively bleak at halftime, I'll say that, or quarter time in general. But it actually turned out to be really good, and the more I think about it, the more I'm like, this could actually turn out to be really positive for me. Just with all the Carlton injuries and with regards to Nick Newman, etc. So anyway, let's just jump into this video here. Matthew Kennedy, 134. I did not see this coming, and I'm still suggesting not going for him just because I don't really think there was an injury in the midfield for Carlton per se. And from memory, like, you still got Cripps, you still got Walsh, you still got Elijah Hollins in there as well. At times, just looking down the list here, you still got George Hewitt. He didn't get injured. So I'm looking at the list going, there's no injuries in that midfield. So I don't think anything's going to change next week. And if you look back to all of these games for Matt Kennedy here, 68, 73, 56, 631. I'm even just going to double check this. CBAs. Then we go out of this. And I know that there probably will be some underlying number that meant that it was such. But you even saw him against Collingwood here. If you look at that didn't change much. And Collingwood was supposed to be a really good team for players to score against with their transition numbers, especially their turnovers. So I think this is more down to an outlier score, which Matt Kennedy has the ceiling score, which you could suggest actually that's the reason why you want to go for him. But I just don't know about it, to be honest with you, if I would be going there in the future. But yeah, he just had a huge first three quarters, got up to 116 at three-quarter time, and then died down a little bit, but had 33, 10, and 4. And a couple of hit outs. What happened there that he was in the ruck? What happened there? He was in the ruck here, but he was also in the ruck here. What was happening there? Nick Newman here, 21-8, and I went, oh no, what have I done? But then he decides, you know what, I'm just going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 touches in the third quarter, and then back that up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 touches in the last. So we had 18 touches in the second half, ended up with a really good stat line in the end, 27 touches, 9 marks, 4 tackles. Would have been a little bit better if he decided not to try and rip, I think it was Jack Ginnivan's head off in a tackle. That would have been probably better, especially in the transition, because it did nothing to stop Hawthorn kicking a goal. But yeah, he did really well. That came, I think, in the second quarter here. Yeah, you can see that 20-minute and 9-second mark, and he was actually down on his quarter. He was in the negatives for that quarter. Came back a little bit late. But then with all the injuries, he just started going kick to kick to kick to kick, and it just started flipping. Like you can see in the space of, look at this, in the space of 160 seconds, he scored 22 points, just like that. And he went from 29, so he went from 29 to, 32. He went up to 61 from 29 in the space of that. And you could effectively say in the space of probably around about 14 minutes, he scored, I think it was something like 38 points. He just went off, and he even had this one included here, and he just continued to get marks and kicks and everything, and yeah, he just ended up like that. And I'm pretty sure Hawthorn was one of the tough games, and I don't know who they exactly have now. Let's just check that. They have got, who do they have? They've got West Coast, and let me just double check this, but I'm pretty sure West Coast give off really good transition numbers. If I just double check this here quickly, 1 second. West Coast give us 35. That's not the greatest. Maybe that's because they were winning games. So last 10, last 5, it's still positive numbers, so it's still a positive matchup. And then I believe they have St Kilda in the last round, which St Kilda are really starting to equalise. They were really bad in their last 5, 3 or 4 weeks ago when they were winning, but then they stopped winning, I'm pretty sure. As you can see here, it's still pretty positive. So I'm pretty positive that the likes of Nick Newman will score really well. And so that should really help him. And he's gone now 145, 116 in my side, which is an average of 130.5. Pretty good. Akers, Hollands, McGovern, Walsh, and 89. Scored really well against Collingwood and then fell off. Cripps, 81. Again, scored well against Collingwood, fell off again. Cripps is just one of those guys that I don't think I'll ever grab in fantasy, just because it feels wrong to almost grab him, because like Neil Lecup last year, etc., there are times when they get really, really hot, but then there are also times where they just sort of, they play really good footy and then they end up with like 100, and then you're like, oh, but you played really good, and then they play really poor and get like a 60. So it feels like they're almost a 95 guy, but their best isn't really actually generating the fantasy points it probably deserves. Mackay, Cowan, Williams, Hollands. Williams could be an interesting one these last couple of weeks with forward status. Maybe he gets chucked down back just with all the chaos with Sard going down with a hamstring. We'll have to watch that space. But, Williams could be an interesting one, potentially at 488k, just to see if he just chumps it up in the back line. As you see here, has he had those big games? Not really, actually. And no one else he really... Carlton were one that I was looking at just to see if there was anyone, and there isn't anyone that I really like at all. Then you go over to Hawthorn, and Dylan Moore just decided to mark everything underneath the sun. 15 marks of him, 29 touches, 3 free kicks, 4 and a behind, and he did get him with a tackle. Don't know whether that tackle was early on. Yeah, it was early on. But yeah, he just smashed it in the first 3 quarters, ended up getting to a 107 at 3/4 time, and yeah, he was just absolutely huge. And for this being one of the tough games, I think Hawthorn, I don't know who they have to end the year, but let me actually just check that. They've got Richmond, they have Richmond and North, don't they? Richmond and North. Richmond, really good, I think, for the likes of a Dylan Moore. And North Melbourne in general, here we go. Oh, this is last 10, but Richmond, I think, hold through. North were really bad last 10, but their last 5, if we go here. So you got Richmond, that fact still holds, so it's probably actually Gold Coast. You really want, who's got the Gold Coast matchup? Who has the Gold Coast matchup in round 23? Melbourne do, and Melbourne have no one. Damn, that sucks. Melbourne have literally no one to jump on. So I'd be jumping on that Richmond matchup, which, as I said earlier, is Hawthorn. And Hawthorn don't really have anyone that I'm like, yeah, so this is why I was looking through it and going, this isn't anyone. But we see that North are actually equalising to a certain degree there, 13 and minus 66. So back here, if we go back here, Dylan Moore, I still think has a really good run at home, so I think he can score well. McDonald, is it someone that I did potentially look at here as well? I did think maybe he'd score well against North and Richmond, but didn't score well in the past, but maybe he's got a better role. I need to look at that more in the next day or two before I do my trade targets, as he's one that I've thought about. Sicily also is one that I think you could potentially jump on. Has the North and Richmond, as we said, went huge against Richmond. So he's one that you really could actually jump on, given that I'm pretty sure Richmond might even have another guy down injured, another tall. So their tall work is just absolutely falling apart. D'Ambrosio, again, another guy that you could heavily consider, just because you could just have him off the bench at like 630k. Just swap him from like a Manor or something like that, or a Humphreys or something like that, and just use him off the bench, looping. Gunston, Nash, Ginnivan, Amon, Warpool, Weddle, Scrimshaw, no one else here really that I look at. Maybe a Cam McKenzie if he can get going, but I just don't think he has a role conducive to scoring high enough to make a difference. Like, you need impact players and guys that can take bulk plus sixes in Sicily and D'Ambrosio alongside Moore and McDonald, who can hit the scoreboard really, really hard, are guys that I'd like more than probably a McKenzie. And then, no one else here really that I look at. Will Day, I don't think so. I just don't think he's really clicked into gear yet, Will Day, this year. And I think it will, he needs a full preseason to do that, as I think he is a guy that can score 100. And he is a guy that potentially next year will be interesting, given that he's had sub-out games. He's also had 40 games where he gets tagged. He's also had DMPs. He's had injury games, has he? Has he had injury games? I don't know if he's necessarily had injury games, but yeah, he's just had some tag games alongside other stuff. So he's an interesting one next year. But anyway, that pretty much is the video there. I think that a lot of the Hawks guys will probably be considered in the trade targets video just because of their run coming home and their ability. They need to have high ceiling ability, and I think Sicily could be another guy that really does do that. So Sicily could come in for a Martin, but I don't think I have enough space to be able to do that, given that I want to get Tristan Cherry. So he may not be able to come in, I think, this week, which kind of sucks because I think he is the one guy that I would be grabbing up if I could do that. But maybe he's just a 23rd primo that we grab up in the last week or something like that. But anyway, that pretty much is the video there. If you did enjoy it, remember to like and subscribe and turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, especially the trade targets video, because it seems like I've been hitting the last couple of weeks in that particular space with Newman and also Marshall going 140 plus on debut after I called them. And yeah, I mean, Cherry will probably go huge on his debut on the side for me. But I think James Sicily is the one that I'm intrigued most about this week with that Richmond matchup. But anyway, I'll see you guys in those videos. Bye, guys.